the whole purpose for our conversation is about the history of Gwinnett County. And as you know, Dad was actually born in Gwinnett County.
Yes. I shared that with my class today.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay. Because where he was born is Gwinnett now, but it was what, Jackson County, I think. It was in Decula, that's now Gwinnett County. And so there have been, what, 6 generations of Moores in Gwinnett County. Wow. Yeah, there are a lot. There are a lot of us.
Yes.
And looking at our mom's side of the family, I think they are originally from like Walton and Barrow County, I think.
Yeah, whatever Wanda and Statham is.
That's Barrow, and Mom was born though in Walton County. It could have been one of those things. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I saw her birth certificate.
I was about to say,
once.
I don't really remember which one of the things. Well, you know, that's how that thing is with you and I about what her maiden name was. And I'm saying Kilgore, and you said no. And I'm like, no, it's really Kilgore, because I saw it on a documentary or something. Maybe it was on one of her books. Yeah. One of her primer books.
Right.
Yeah. So I knew that.
Oh, good. What?
Decula and Auburn. Originally, that was Barrow County as well, not Jackson, because Jackson was way around at Monroe.
No, Jackson is Jefferson.
Yeah, so that's too far away.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, talking about when Mom and Dad and growing up, what are some of your most vivid memories of us growing up here in Gwinnett County in the 50s and 60s. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, you were born in the 40s. But,
well, yes. But I'm really proud of that because I feel so wonderful. But, you know, growing up, for us, I think for me, I missed a lot of drama, if you will. We didn't experience some of the drama that others may have experienced because they tell us things. And I'm like, I don't remember that. I never experienced that. I don't know about that. But I just remember Mother always being so innovative, always, let's educate. Let's get that education, you know. And what I remember most, and probably nobody else may not would even think of it that much, but she said, I didn't have 8 children for them to be farmers and to always work for somebody else or whatever, but I have 8 children, but I want you to be educated. And you know, I was reading something, well, I did a lesson this weekend, and without education, you can't be free. See, anybody can bind you, put you in bondage if you're not educated. And Mother knew that. You know, with that 6th grade education of hers that was like a college education, she understood the value of education. So she taught us educate, 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 and still keep it simple and humble. And for Dad, it was support. He was that dad that whatever Mother, he trusted her intellect and her wisdom and her leadership. So he would say, well, what did your mother say? And you know, whatever Mom wanted to do and wanted us to do or have, he just gave the resources to her and she made it work. That's the fun part. That's I think the most important part of growing up with Mom and Dad as our parents here in Gwinnett County, because I was able to impart that to my own children.
And are they imparting that to their children?
They are imparting it to their children because Robin has the 2 boys and then Barry has the 1. But they have really learned family legacy. You know how Daddy was about legacy and about roots,
family,
genealogy. You know, know who you are, know from whence you came, what's your tree, you know, what's your tree line. And so, you know, now, as my children grew, they were always with the family because they understood family, the unity. And then, so now they taught their children that, And they don't always want to do it because, you know, we got another whole generation now who
Yes.
think that they can do it a little bit different. And I can come on special occasions, but I don't have to hang with you old people all the time because after all of us are really senior citizens now. So the kids, yeah, and so they're not exactly connected, the grandchildren, like the children were. But yet and still being a grandparent to those three, I can make sure that they get it and that they have gotten it. And so they understand, you know, being with family and being there for one another. You know, that was the thing that I think we learned so much about from Dad. It was just unity. This is your family. You help each other, you support each other, you're there for whatever occasion. You're just there. You know, remember we did the family reunions and the going to Uncle Hamp's and Uncle Lloyd. Uncle Hamp was Uncle Lloyd. And then there was Uncle Floyd. And they had those big farms down in
I remember
Barrow
that.
County. But he was going to Hamp's. That was
That's
his
right.
uncle.
I've forgotten that
Yeah.
he called him Ham.
Ham.
Okay. All right.
So we, you know, we would go there and
Okay. All right. But here in Gwinnett, and we're going to school at Hooper Renwick, what do you, when you think about your school years and thinking about the environment here in the county during that time frame, what stands out to you?
the fact that we had an exceptional school and that we had exceptional teachers and a principal in Mr. Hightower. Our first principal that I know and can remember at Hooper Renwick, this man knew how to run a school, how to educate it, the people, and then bring in the parents. Our parents were a great part of the school, always the schooling. And the experience that we had in assembly, and we were talking, James and I were talking about that yesterday, in the school, again, we didn't, at least I didn't, and I think you all didn't either, but we didn't get the fallout so much of, what is the word I'm trying to remember?
Segregation.
Segregation, that's the
Yes.
word. See, I really didn't feel the real impact of that because for whatever reason, mom and dad being who they were and being the way they were, we were shielded from that kind of thing. And we were just taught to be the best that we could be. And it had nothing to do with the color of our skin or the content of our character because that was already in place. That was taught from day one. So, and that was in the school that was taught, that same legacy was passed on from our teachers, something that they probably don't have now.
No, they don't.
But with a segregated school, it was the bomb. It really was. I am not envious of the children who missed it. I think we got the better part. What you think?
No, I totally agree. Because in my travels and in my corporate world, we talking about the school, the home economics. We were taught manners. You were taught what forks and knives to use and
etiquette.
Etiquette. You know, whole deportment and. You know, as I've traveled, as I've worked, as I've been exposed, I mean, those have stood me in good stead anywhere in the world.
Anywhere.
I've gone, and any level of strata of society or the corporate world that I've interacted with, those lessons have stood me in excellent stead.
Exactly.
So those teachers were to be commended when you look at their backgrounds.
Exactly.
Most of them didn't come from money. They basically pulled themselves up and helped us develop so that we had that platform that we could take the next step up and be successful at it.
And in whatever you chose. And you know, and you look at Ernest. Ernest, look at him. He had gifts. And it had nothing to do with anybody teaching him anything. And mother was wise enough to allow him to pursue them, even though he used to run daddy crazy with the noise.
Absolutely.
But mama, allowed him to pursue that. And it's so funny. She wanted somebody to play piano. And so she bought this piano. You were the victim. I call you a victim. You were the victim. But it was Ernest who played instead, really played, but he had the gift.
Right.
So he didn't even have to take the music lessons, but he'd be stomping and playing loud and whatever and just run daddy. Just,
absolutely nuts, gave me a
yes.
headache.
But so I think that by them being free spirits in their own way, our parents, and then having teachers who understood the values kind of like mama felt them. You impart your very best to these people. And I think and again too, they learned it does take a village to raise a child. It takes innovative, dedicated, committed teachers to perpetuate what you learn at home, or even to augment what you learn at home. It's like, okay, I see you have this basic, I see you have that basic, I see you have this talent or that gift. And so having the assemblies, we even learned how to worship in school. Now they don't allow them to even mention Christianity in any form, and every other religion can do that, but not Christianity. But we had that, and it has stood us in good stead.
Definitely has.
It has, and when I look at it now, and I can really say, you know what? We really all have our own personal relationships with God, because mother had that and she taught us. Daddy had one that was so unique, you almost missed it. Yeah, you missed it because he was quiet and really thoughtful. And he considered before he spoke. He didn't waste words. No. So that taught us that balance, because my mom was, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder who got that trait.
You did.
Yeah, right, okay.
And you do it so well with your,
thank you.
That's why you had the job that you had that you retired from.
Right.
You had the gift for gab as well. Saying about me. Right. But anyway. Yeah.
And speaking of religion, and of course, the church was a very large part
absolutely
of our lives.
Yeah.
And all of us have, the scripture about bring up a child in the way it should go. You won't depart from it. The only one who's departed, really, bless his heart, is Ernest.
And he really didn't depart. He just took a side street. He took a break. He disconnected from the train for a moment.
Well, let's talk about church and our religion and the part it played in our lives.
Oh my goodness. I think that in the time that we were born and in the environment that could have been a part of us, again, it wasn't, because, and it's my pet peeve, but if you raise a child at home and then you're getting that same training and teaching in the church and then the school, in the class that I did this weekend, I learned that education was really a religious thing. It was Christian education. It started in the home. Then when there were people who weren't able to really teach or whatever, their own children, so it moved to the church. School started in the church. And then I found out that Harvard and Yale and all of these schools, in the beginning, they were seminaries, not secular schools. But when the state came in and took over and politicized education, that's when then they gradually started taking religion out of school. Think about it. In our church experience, the things that we learned even in school, 23rd Psalm, you had to say it every day, first to start your day. Then you had to say the Lord's Prayer. So every child knew how to pray. If you didn't know anything else, you knew how to pray the Lord's Prayer and say the 23rd Psalm. So you knew a scripture. But think about it, we used to have to say a scripture. Everybody in the class had to say a scripture. Yeah. And that was part of our starting our day. So when we got to our church, we did Sunday school, we did BTU. I'm just talking about us, and I think this is what we're really talking about us, our experience. And we had BTU, which is the Baptist Training Union for Youth. We were in Sunday school, we were in the choir, the children's choir. Brother, which is Aaron, and Ruth and Nell and I sang in a gospel group as children with Shirley and Bobby and Billy Wilburn, other natives of Gwinnett County. And we grew up singing in the church, following Mr. Ellis and Mr. Brown and them. When they sang, they had us on the program as well. So church, our faith, not just religion, but Mom really taught us how to have faith. And you know, and in that I think we were able to recognize each other personal gifts without going through the jealousy and the envy. Other people were jealous of us, but they don't know what they were jealous of. They just saw something they thought that we thought something else about. But we were just being ourselves. We were mimicking or emulating, if you will, those things that we had been taught in the school, first home, in the school, and then in the church. This is what we knew. And Mom had taught us, like I said, be the best you. You can't be anybody else, so why would you mimic somebody else? I've learned personally in my religion that I don't have to mimic any other human being. I'm good enough as a human being. That's who God created me. That's how He created me. I don't need to copy another human being because we all have come short. We've all fallen short. So why would I emulate imperfection when I can emulate perfection?
Okay, all right. Thinking of the secular and the times that we grew up, again, in the 50s and 60s, time of segregation, discrimination, and thinking about the environment here in Gwinnett. Can you remember any of the leaders from back then? Because, again, because of the times, perforce, they were all white men. Mm-hmm. And the impact, and I was thinking in particular, Mr. Baggett,
yeah,
and the impact that had on our lives.
Right.
Yeah,
well, I think that's why we missed some of the trauma and drama of that era. It is because Daddy worked for him, so I think his whole family, Daddy's family, was protected and shielded from a lot of that. And they knew, oh no, that's Aaron Moore. They knew Aaron Moore. He works for Baggett. You know, they live on Baggett's farm. So they're not to be involved in this. You don't bother them. You don't mess with them. And I was laughing today earlier when I was sharing with them that my dad was born in Gwinnett County. And I said, do you know, I think that, again, it goes about, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Mm-hmm. That's what, because knowing them, Daddy working for them, there were benefits.
There were.
If you will, that others did not get or have.
Enjoy, yes.
Or enjoy, or yes. Experience.
Right.
So that, knowing him, knowing Tom Nash, knowing, what was his name? Oh, the Sauls that ran the department store,
right.
The Allens, the Swansons that had, you know.
Dr. Ezzard.
Dr. Ezzard and Dr. Martin.
Right.
So knowing the right people makes all the difference in the world. Unfortunately, at that time, that's what it needed to be, but thank God we were recipients of it, right. That we got to, experience that and not so much of the negative, violent rejection and dejection that a lot of African Americans experienced at that time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that history was the springboard for Aaron Jr.
Yes.
and his what he was able to accomplish here in the county. You want to talk about a little bit about that, about him?
Oh, wow. You know, he's almost too, his life was so grand, and his impact, it's almost so big you don't even know what to say. It's just so much that you can say about Aaron Moore Jr., you know, but the legacy that he left us, just think about that. He was never one to judge or criticize or put down. He was our oldest brother. He was our big brother. He was our hero. He was our example. And he had picked up Daddy's mantra of, well, that's your mom. You know, children have a tendency to want to complain about mom because usually mom is the one that enforces the laws.
Right.
And so, you know, behind their back you want to say little stuff, but he would always say, that's your mom. And the thing, like what he did for me, and I was so blown away when we were at the visitation when he passed. Well, actually he passed December the 30th last year. But we were at visitation 1st of January, and the thing that he had done for me as a adolescent teenager, he had continued to do that for young females throughout wherever he met them, and they got up to share that. And I was like, but he told me that.
I'm the only one.
Yeah. At least I know I was first. You know? That's a good word. I was first. Because I was around about 12, I guess, 11 or 12. And I had a problem. I don't know if you could call it low self-esteem, but I think you could have. Yeah. But I was very defensive, if you will. And he said to me one day, you are so smart and you're pretty and you're friendly. You got the beautiful smile. He even went on to say you have a nice shape. You got pretty legs. You are intelligent. They're just jealous. You know, you can do anything you want to do. You can accomplish anything you want to. And you know, I took that with me for the rest of my life. Wow. And even I got married early, but I finished high school. I raised my children and went to college when I was 58. Because mother's first, but then brother throughout always said, you can do it. You can do it. Wow. But he's just been such an influence in this whole county, and he started at home with his own family. You know, you talk to James and you talk to Jimmy, you talk to you talk to Ruth, you talk to Ernest or Neil, and he was just a hero. He was that example. Wow. And so you can't ever minimize that, and it can't be diminished. There's too many people that benefited from it. Too many. And then the impact that he made here in the county, the first African American to do this. You know, he was the first African American and the only one that ever served on the commissioners.
The planning and zoning.
Yeah, planning and zoning. And then a planning and zoning commissioner, he was like the chair for the investigative.
For the city, and he was on the commission for the county.
Yeah, and worked at General Motors, one of the few, one of the first employees at BOP out in Doraville. And he's just, you know, in other words, he's been a trailblazer. And I think that the way Mom emphasized, he didn't go to college. He was like her. He just had it. You know, it was God-given. So he had it, something that you couldn't learn from a book or even from another person. It had to be in you, and then it had to be grown up in you, and and fed, nurtured by somebody who really had confidence in you. I know you may not remember, but you remember when after he finished school, high school, and he wanted to go into the Air Force.
Yeah, remember that.
Well, he had that.
Heart murmur.
Yeah. And so they said no. But he came back, he went to work. He went to work first at Lamex and then at General Motors. All of this is, over in Doraville. And I think, it was part of Gwinnett then, because
Some part of it still is Gwinnett.
Yeah. And he just, and then all of the guys here in Lawrenceville and around and about in the county, most of them they got jobs at General Motors. My brother-in-laws, they all were at General Motors. Some of the schoolmates, like Johnny was talking about the impact that brother had on his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, that's a good man there, that's a real man. Because he knew how to encourage you and support you and believe in you and make you believe in yourself. And that was the legacy right there. He could believe in you, and he really did. It was genuine. And then he could make you believe in yourself. So he had you going, I think I can, I think I can, I believe I can, I believe I can, I know I can. And then you succeeded. Because you were talking about the religion and the background and all of that. After going to Bible college, I was ordained. At age 62, I finished college with an honor at age 62 and a grandmother with grown grandchildren. Wow. He had it. I ran into Beauty Baldwin the other day, and she was still ranting and raving about the legacy. His impartation to her, his support of her. And you just, there's no telling, Joyce, we'll never hear all of the testimonies of the impact that he made. True. But it was all ages, all ethnic groups, all whatever, all people. He just was a people-loving person, and he believed in all people. And see it again, because we missed some of the trauma and drama of segregation, we learned just people. People are people. And you love them, is like what Martin Luther King said, not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And so we learned that. And I think that we all perpetuated that, and we have promoted that. I think we pass it on to our children. And our little brother Ernest, he married him a German Fräulein. So it's not about so much about race, or I should say your ethnicity. Yeah. But it's about just being a person, being people. And if you find it, and this was another good thing about him, even if it was a person of questionable character or whatever, he managed to bring them in and clean them up and help them up, and they became somebody that they were supposed to be in the first place. And he did that. He did that. From day one, I don't ever remember him not being an exhorter and one who would build up someone else. Wow. We've had it. We're rich.
We are. In the things that are important.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are rich. Love, we know how to do that. And do it unconditionally. See, that was the thing. But we learned that growing up here in Gwinnett County from my dad. He modeled it, see.
He definitely did.
He modeled it.
Yeah.
Unconditional love.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love you in spite of, not because of.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, about Ian, there's nothing more I can say. You said it all. And the fact that he is honored within his family.
Yes.
And really, that's the most important thing.
Yes,
The
it
people who
is.
really know you,
Yes.
honor you, and respect you is not just a public face.
Right.
And his 2 sons and 3 grandsons. And I understand that the resolution was presented to him,
Yes.
last weekend
Yes.
at the Lawrenceville Fest?
Yeah.
That went very, very well.
Yes.
But, and I've said to you, his passing was very inconsiderate.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And he didn't give us enough warning or anything, you know.
None of that.
No.
And the fact that
We need him now to
we
answer some questions
definitely-
and do some of
we
his
definitely need
research
him.
and digging and connecting that he always
Exactly, and his
Yeah.
involvement here in the county.
did. Yeah.
Because if he were alive, we wouldn't be sitting
Exactly.
here. He'd be
He
here.
would be here.
And some
So
of the
we're just
other
trying to hold
things,
up.
we're trying to hold up the family banner, as it
Yes,
were.
yes.
Well, we have to get the next generation involved. And,
Yes.
and I think Jeremy is coming along.
Absolutely.
Very, very proud of
Yeah.
him. So, you know, again, I could say a whole bunch of things about
Yeah.
my big brother, but talking about him and his impact on the county, and as we've seen this county grow, it is just totally unrecognizable
Yeah.
from the time we were growing
Yeah.
up. What have you got to say about Gwinnett County now?
I always say some of the people need to go home. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, so do I. When you're sitting in traffic, it's like, what are all these people
my
doing
goodness,
here?
It is so many people here now from everywhere, all over the world, and we can't come and enjoy our home base because it's so crowded, and it's almost like another country, another place. Versus where it was, what it was like when we, and that's not to be selfish about it, but you know, coming in, and I gotta go. You gotta, you know,
Direct
walk me
you.
through a detour to get here because they're just people. But I say that I am because of the legacy of my brother and his wife, his late wife
Right.
too,
Yeah.
Robbie Moore, who they named a school after on the
Right.
property where we grew
Grew
up.
up, right?
See, these kinds of things. But I would say now, keep hope alive and keep moving forward, growing in the direction that God allowed him to establish. Because it is inclusive of all people. It is inclusive of progress. And we hope that it's going to come to, again, one nation under God. If you come here from somewhere else, know what the foundation is. Know what the legacy of the county itself and the city of Lawrenceville, know what that stood for. And see, somebody told me today, you came from where? And one of the ladies said, I never knew anybody from Gwinnett County, from Lawrenceville. I said, yes, you did. You've known me 33 years. That's where I'm from, so you've known me that long. So you've always known somebody from Gwinnett County. And she said, she fell out laughing. She said, oh my goodness. And I told her, it is so different now. Yeah, but it's universal now.
True.
It's universal. We didn't have a lot of other people here other than blacks and Caucasians.
True.
And we all knew each other.
Yes.
We
did.
all knew each other.
Yeah.
And we all got along.
Yeah.
At least I think we did. That's what I know of it.
Same
You
here.
know, Daddy knew all the right people
Right.
to get what he needed and what Mama said she wanted.
Right.
And to get us into doors and things that would not have been opened. So now, and then with Aaron Jr. coming along, they have opened more doors. He and
Right.
his wife have helped to open more doors, to establish more venues, if you will, more arenas that were created, established, founded by us. Native people, you know, all of this didn't come from somebody who came in from New York and somebody who came in from California, but it came from homegrown people. And I'm just thinking that we're just going to go on and on and on, and each generation that has, especially the ones that are still here, and the generations are still staying right here in Lawrenceville, I think that the precedence has been set where they will get involved. Because I'm looking at some of the young people and the children that are my children's age, and they're involved. My nephew Quayne, Erin's junior son, oldest son, he's involved. He knows people like his dad did, and he's a helper. He is a true servant. So, you know, we can only expect the best.
Okay.
We can only expect the best. I think it's going to be all right.
Even if all these people keep coming in.
Even if all these people keep coming in. Well, they'll just keep tearing down our green spaces and our trees and stuff, and pushing the coyote farther back.
No, the coyotes are coming in.
That's what I said. They'll push them back, but now they're coming in. That's exactly what I mean. Take their territory, they'll take yours. Because it really belonged to them first. But other than that, I think that we're progressive and progressing. And I think we'll go forward, and I think we'll do well. I do. You know, it was a pleasure for me to come down and stay with Erin and just nurse him and pamper him, and because he had earned all of that. See, he had earned that. And so I kind of felt like Jesus was done when Mary Magdalene prepared him by anointing his head with oil and washing his feet and all of that with her hair and with the alabaster box of oil. That's what I felt like when after I thought about it and it was over. And I thought, God, you know, you and Erin, y'all pulled some fast ones on me. Some things you didn't let me know. But the thing that he did let me know, he allowed me to address that and to make his life the end the way he had lived it. Peaceful, loving, and being loved. Because that was him. That was him.
Well, and I think that's basically our family. Most of us
It is.
are that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at
Okay.
us and you see, we impact a lot of people. A lot of people. But it all started right here in Lawrenceville,
Yeah, it did.
in Gwinnett County,
With-
Lawrenceville and Decatur.
With Lil Bell and Erin.
Yes, with Lilabelle and Erin.
All right.
So, we don't have anything to regret, I can tell you that. And we have everything to be proud of and thankful, not boasting, but just proud that God graced us to have such an inheritance, such an experience, such a life, You know, because I don't care what your nationality is. See, and I'm a stickler about races. My Bible says there's only one race of mankind, that's the human race. So when I fill out applications and stuff now, if they ask me race, I put human. First time I did it, they was like, Miss Flood, wait a minute. But I said, there's only one race of mankind. You're talking nationalities. And
Or
you're
ethnicities.
talking nations and ethnicities or whatever.
Ethnicities.
Yeah, ethnicities.
Yeah, that word.
That word. But there's just only one race. So don't ask me what my race is if you don't really want to know. And so they laughed. They said, go on, Miss Flood, just go on. So, and then when I taught it to my new members class, because I found it in the Bible again, and it's in Psalms, and they said, now they use it I can't wait till I go and put out an application or fill out some papers, because when it comes to race, I'm going to put human. I said, well, there's nothing they can say about it. Can't argue it. It is biblical fact, but we have just gotten away. I thank God that we were taught the way we were taught, because I'm not far off my base.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still operating on the base that I was given, the platform that I was given at birth. To be a daughter of Erin and Jerolene Moore, Sr., and to know God, to serve God, to be in a relationship with God where you can impart those kinds of things to others. You know, that's all a part of who we are. We're all servants. Because my mother was an awesome servant.
Yeah, she was.
She was really an awesome servant.
Yeah.
And sometimes people didn't get, she liked order. And she would say, well, we need to get some orders. We need a system. We need some order with the system. You remember the time Granny was like, here, you do yours. Like, okay.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, it was, I tell you, we were at Granny's house to eat.
Mm-hmm.
All of us would, but you know, Mom always fixed
Right.
and carried. So they were still cooking. And of course, Mother had finished cooking and she was ready to eat and ready to feed her children. And they were still cooking. And so she said, and there was those in the kitchen, you know, running into each other and all that. And she was like, well, wait a minute, we need to organize. We need a system. We need some order. And Granny didn't like that. So she just told her, basically, this is my house. She didn't say it that way, but this is my house, and I'm running it. So you got your little food, you go on over there and sit down with it and mind your business.
That's Della. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.